Why affirmations aren't magic, a scientific explanation. Chapter 1. Affirmations, myth or reality. You've heard it before. Repeat, I am successful, I am worthy, I am loved. And you've probably rolled your eyes at least once like, sure, tell yourself that 100 times and suddenly your life will change. Or, keep saying, I'm rich, and a suitcase full of cash will fall from a helicopter right into your backyard. And just like that, the money will show up, your relationships will magically heal, and you'll finally feel calm and confident inside. I get it. It sounds unconvincing. But if you're still listening, maybe, just maybe, you're willing to look at this from another angle, a purely skeptical one. Let's start at the beginning. What is an affirmation, really? It's a short, positively worded statement that you consciously repeat to yourself in order to reprogram your thinking and shift your internal beliefs. It's not some magic spell. It's a tool, one that helps train your brain to focus not on fear and doubt, but on concrete goals and actions. The goal? To reach your subconscious and rewire it. And by the way, we talked about the subconscious in another piece. You should definitely check that one out to grasp just how deep this topic goes. But back to affirmations. This idea is closely tied to the so-called law of attraction, which claims we attract whatever we focus on. But let's not dive into the philosophy, or as some would say, mysticism. This isn't about mystical beliefs. In this chapter, I want to break down the logic behind affirmations, as one skeptic to another, and show you that affirmations aren't magic. They're just psychology. And the effectiveness of this method is grounded in good old-fashioned logic. Most people don't turn to affirmations because they're glowing with faith. They do it out of desperation, and that's okay. Because the power of these words doesn't lie in some kind of wizardry, it lies in what they actually do to your thinking. You don't have to believe in affirmations. You don't question whether electricity exists. You just use it. Try looking at this the same way. But to truly understand how all of this works, you first need to understand how your brain works. And spoiler alert, it doesn't follow the rules of motivational posters. It's a machine, electric, chemical, logical, and predictable. If you keep telling yourself, I'm worthless, your brain won't argue. It will simply adapt. If you keep repeating, nothing ever works out for me, it will begin closing doors, even if they're wide open. But change the script, and your brain will start to notice new paths. This isn't a parable. It's biology. It's psychology. It's a mechanism hardwired into you from birth. And like any complex system, it has its quirks. It doesn't really distinguish between what you say out loud and what you say in your head. Whatever you repeat becomes your internal landscape. At first, it's just background noise. Then it becomes a habit. And then it becomes your reality. That's why it's so important to understand. Affirmations aren't a bunch of magical words. They're a tool, just like a hammer. You can build a house with it, or leave it on the shelf and claim it's useless. The difference lies in whether you're using it the right way. Have you ever wondered why the same person can seem totally defeated in one situation and incredibly strong in another? Maybe it's not about the circumstances. Maybe it's about what they're saying to themselves when no one's listening. Today, we'll unpack what's really happening inside your head when you repeat those phrases, why it can genuinely shift your life, and how to use this tool without self-deception, without fluff, without the rose-colored glasses. So, are you ready to start talking to yourself differently? Chapter 2. How the brain works. When you say an affirmation, whether it's, I deserve better, or I can handle this, it's not just empty air. It's a command, a message sent to the system we call the brain, a system that's not just a lump of tissue, but a finely tuned biological instrument reacting to every single thought you have. On a neurophysiological level, your thoughts trigger chemical processes. When you repeat certain phrases over and over, you activate specific neural circuits. And the brain works like this. What fires frequently, wires permanently. This is called neuroplasticity. Put simply, your brain forms new pathways, new habits of thought, new automatic reactions. As Canadian neuropsychologist Donald Hebb once said, neurons that fire together wire together. Every time you say a positive statement, you're literally training your brain to think differently. You're carving out a new trail through your mental forest, a path that can be walked again. And the more you walk it, the clearer and stronger it becomes. Eventually, it becomes your main road, instead of the old one that led straight to fear, self-doubt, and shame. This isn't magic, it's biology. But here's the twist. Your brain doesn't know the difference between reality and vividly imagined experience. Its job isn't to judge, it's to interpret. And anything you speak aloud with emotion and conviction, it takes as real. So if you say with pain in your chest, "Nobody needs me," your brain believes it. In fact, its next job is to reinforce that belief and deliver logical proof to support it. It creates an internal reality in which you truly feel unwanted. But the reverse is also true. If you start saying something different, with intention, with attention, with even the tiniest bit of belief, you begin to reverse that process. Still, not magic. Still, just repetition. But this time, it's deliberate effort. Effort to reshape your inner landscape. Effort to form new thinking, new perception, and over time, a new identity. You don't have to believe every affirmation right away, but you can give yourself permission to experiment. Just try. It doesn't hurt. You've got nothing to lose by being kind to yourself. Start saying something good to yourself, anything. Little by little, your brain will begin to absorb those words into your background mental noise. And your mental background, that quiet hum beneath your thoughts, shapes your mood, your choices, your reactions, and eventually, your reality. Chapter 3. I tried and it didn't work. You tried. You said the words. You gave it your best shot. But nothing changed, or barely anything. Why? Because the power of affirmations doesn't lie in the words themselves. It lies in the state you're in when you say them. If you repeat, "I am calm and balanced," while a storm is raging inside, anxiety, tension, fear, your brain doesn't buy it. It hears more than just the phrase. It hears the emotion behind it. And emotion always speaks louder. Here's the biggest mistake. We repeat affirmations without feeling them. We say the words mechanically, automatically, like they're just a script from some Instagram post we're supposed to recite. But the brain rejects what doesn't resonate. It treats it like foreign matter. It says, "That's not true. I don't feel that." The second mistake? Using affirmations that are way out of sync with your current belief system. If you've spent 10 years convinced you're unwanted, then saying, "Everyone adores me" sounds ridiculous to your brain, it can't absorb it. It won't stick. It doesn't fit the old map of reality. It clashes with everything your system is used to believing. So what do? Start gently, gradually. No force, no mental violence. Don't lie to yourself. Move toward a new truth. Instead of, "I am wealthy," try, "I'm learning to build wealth." Instead of, "I am completely calm," try, "I'm getting a little calmer every day." These in-between phrases are bridges. Bridges from old thinking to new. They sound believable, and your brain doesn't treat them as lies, it treats them as possibilities. Third mistake? Inconsistency. Affirmations aren't a magic pill. They're a workout. The brain doesn't rewire after a single sentence, but it does begin to shift after 20 repetitions a day, 100 a week, 1,000 a month. Repetition isn't about mindless parroting. It's about pouring something new into your inner space, again and again until it takes root. Your brain is like a muscle. It needs training. That's the real difference between this and magic. You're not sitting around waiting for a miracle. You're building a new reality, brick by brick. And one day, you'll wake up and realize you're thinking differently. You're feeling differently. You're reacting differently. Because those so-called just words have quietly become your new truth. Chapter 4. Why it feels so hard at first. You want change. You're tired of living the same old story. Maybe you've even tried saying affirmations every day. But still, something feels off. It's like something invisible has its hands on your shoulders, whispering, "Don't go there." That's not procrastination. That's not weakness. That's your security system kicking in. Your subconscious doesn't know you're trying to become happier. It doesn't care if you want to be more confident, more successful, more free. Its only job is one thing: protection. Not from the dangers you recognize, but from the unknown. When you say, "I deserve better," your logic may agree, may even cheer you on. But if your subconscious has spent the last 10 years hearing the opposite, it panics. It rejects the new input. Because to it, everything unfamiliar is equal to danger. That inner conflict you feel, it doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It means there are two voices inside. One that's ready to evolve, and one that's trying to keep you safe. And that second voice, it doesn't choose joy. It chooses comfort. Not because it hates you, but because somewhere in your past, in childhood maybe, or during some stressful teenage chapter it learned, being myself isn't safe. Dreaming is dangerous. Showing emotion is a risk. So now here you are, standing at the threshold of a new life. And inside you there's still an old guard. Tired, but still on duty. He's not your enemy. He protected you the only way he knew how. He just doesn't know you've grown up. So what do? First, stop fighting yourself. You're not broken. You're a complex system with an outdated program running in the background. And you can rewrite it not by breaking it, but by replacing it. With care. With respect for the survival tools that once helped you get through. Second, create a sense of internal safety. Affirmations take root best in a calm, grounded mind. If you say them in a state of panic or stress, they bounce off. But if you pause, breathe deeply, relax, come back into your body, your brain hears, "We're safe now. It's okay to open up." You can't plant a seed in frozen soil, but you can thaw the ground. You can prepare it. Only then you plant. Affirmations aren't about willpower. At first, they're more of a truce between who you were and who you're becoming. They're not a scream, "Change, damn it." They're a whisper, "Let's try something new." Chapter 5. Neuroplasticity. Rewriting your personality. Picture your brain as a dense forest. And you? You keep walking the same trail every day. It's familiar, worn, easy, but it leads nowhere. You know you need to turn off. Try another path. But that other side? Overgrown, dark, uncertain, and every step into it feels like a fight. That's how thinking works. Every thought is like a step through the woods. The more often you think it, the clearer that path becomes, and the easier it is to walk it again. This is how neural pathways are formed. If you've spent decades thinking, "I can't do this," that thought has become a mental highway. And "I am worthy of love," that's not even a path yet. It's just a flicker, a vague idea, somewhere deep in the brush. But here's where the science becomes magic. Neuroplasticity is your brain's ability to rewire itself. It's proven, it's studied, and it's working in your favor. With each repetition, even if you don't believe the words yet, your brain begins to shift. Tiny changes, small sprouts of something new. And, yes, at first it feels awkward, unnatural, fake, like you're reading lines from someone else's script. But the research is clear. If you do it consistently, sincerely, attentively, that new path becomes the one you know. And the old one? It starts to fade, overgrown by time. Dr. Joe Dispenza, a leading voice in neuroscience, says, "If you want to change your life, you have to start thinking differently than you did yesterday." It's not just a catchy quote, it's a formula. Each new thought, if you repeat it, literally reshapes your brain. You can see the changes on an MRI. This isn't mysticism, it's biology. And here's something powerful. Your brain can't tell the difference between imagination and reality. If you visualize success, it reacts as if you're already walking toward it. If you repeat, "I am calm," your biochemistry shifts. Cortisol goes down, dopamine goes up. You're not just convincing yourself of something. You're teaching your brain to live differently. That's why consistency matters. Affirmations aren't spells. They're a workout. You wouldn't expect abs after one sit-up, right? Same here. You need repetition, breath, focus. This isn't magic. It's choice. Every single day, you choose which trail to walk. And one day, without even realizing it, you'll glance back and see that the old road is gone. You've forgotten how to get there. Chapter 6. How to Use Affirmations Effectively. 5 Science-Backed Principles. Carl Jung once said, "You do not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." Many people give up on affirmations, not because they don't work, but because they use them without understanding how the human brain works. They repeat, "I am successful," while feeling anxious, scared, uncertain. And then they say, "This is all nonsense." But let's go deeper. If you've made the decision to change something inside yourself, you don't just need words. You need the right approach. And science has one. Here are 5 key principles that turn affirmations into a true tool for transformation. 1. The body must be fixed. When you're tense, your brain is in survival mode. And in that state, affirmations don't sink in. Research shows that during rest, especially during meditation or just before sleep, the brain enters an alpha state. In this rhythm, it becomes more suggestible, more open to new beliefs. This is your window. Say your affirmations then, and they'll reach the subconscious more deeply. 2. Visualization. Scientists at Stanford have shown the brain activates the same neural circuits during imagination as it does during real-life action. So when you don't just say, "I am confident," but actually see yourself being confident, your brain logs it as experience, and it responds accordingly. Your hormones shift, anxiety decreases. Words paint a picture, but imagination brings it to life. 3. Emotional charge. Dry words do nothing. Your brain needs a spark, a feeling, a visceral reaction. Research on emotional intelligence confirms information paired with strong emotion is remembered and internalized more deeply. So don't just speak your affirmations, feel them. If you say, "I am worthy of love," imagine someone looking at you with warmth. Feel it. Let it land. That's your anchor. 4. Repetition. You can't expect results after 2 tries. Neuropsychology says it takes, on average, 21 to 66 days of daily repetition to create a new belief. This is training, and the brain, like a muscle, grows through consistent effort. Repetition is the key. 5. Action. Affirmations don't work in a vacuum. You can say, "I am confident" all day, but if you keep avoiding conversations, meetings, or the stage, your brain receives no proof and falls back to the old loop. Science is clear. Affirmations combined with action lead to real, lasting change. Every small step you take becomes reinforcement. It tells your brain, "This is not just theory. This is who I am becoming. Let's make a deal." You don't have to believe in all this right away. This isn't blind faith. It's an experiment. You try, you observe, you adjust, and step by step, you begin to create a new inner reality. Chapter 7. Your Future Self. You don't have to believe every word right away. You don't have to wake up in the morning feeling like a hero. You can simply start with one thing: intention, the desire to become yourself, the decision to stop being a victim of old programming. Affirmations aren't magic. They're a bridge between the version of you that was shaped, broken, silenced, and the one you choose to become. They are the voice you're reclaiming, your own thread of Ariadne, through the maze of inherited beliefs, traumas, and echoes from the past. But why does this work? Because you are, quite literally, a living neural network. Your brain builds habits, not just of action, but of thought. When you focus on a certain thought again and again, you strengthen that neural pathway. You're physically rewiring your perception of reality. In the early 2000s, neuropsychologist Donald Hebb said, "Neurons that fire together wire together. This is called synaptic plasticity. The more often you think a certain way, the easier it becomes to think that way again." So when you consciously introduce affirmations, you're building alternative routes of thinking, new mental highways where your energy starts to flow. But here's the thing. Affirmations aren't only about what you say. They're about how you say it, what state you're in, what depth you bring, how honestly your body responds. You're not just repeating, "I am strong." You feel your spine straighten, your breath deepen, a flicker of confidence rise in your chest, even if just for a moment. And each time, that moment lasts a little longer. You're literally training your mind to see yourself differently, not as a failure who got unlucky, but as someone who, every day, makes the choice to be a little more real. Affirmations are not magic spells. They are mindfulness training, repetitions that rewrite your identity, a kind of attention to yourself you might have never received before. They are discipline, practice, presence. You don't need to wait until you believe. You can keep going, keep speaking, until the voice of doubt quiets down, until your inner child begins to believe. Yes, you are worthy. Yes, you are loved. Yes, you can, because only you can build your inner world. And the building begins right now.